it's time for another edition of Toro Talk, as we're joined by Mason City Toros forward Cullen Hogan here from Dallas, Texas, ahead of this weekend's set against the Rochester Grizzlies. Cullen, you picked up your second goal of the season this past weekend on Saturday against Granite City. Boy, a couple of tight games. That was a big goal at the time in the third period. Not only was it a shorthanded goal, but it cut the deficit to 1. Talk to me about that one. You got a great stretch pass and took it to the house.
Yeah, just at the time of the game, we needed a goal. Like, we were being down 2 at that point. I was just looking to take a chance, and luckily it got past the defenseman, and I was able to bury it.
Obviously, that was a pretty chippy series, all in all, with Granite City, 2 really competitive teams going at it. You guys got 1, and you really let your emotions out when you scored that goal on Saturday. Talk to me about, what that's about. Is that just trying to get the other guys fired up and try to get a comeback going?
Yeah, that and just even being a part of it for 2 games, I could tell the rivalry between us and Granite. Even though we're not actually North Iowa anymore, the same rivalry is still there, and the games are still as heated as they always were.
And I think part of that definitely is because of all the carryovers. We've got 5 players who played for the Bulls last year now with the Toros, of course, but definitely a great start to that rivalry overall. And a big reason why you guys were able to split that weekend series with Granite City was the penalty kill, and you're a big part of that. You guys were 11 for 11. Obviously, the shorthanded goal helps, 1 of 2 on the weekend, but talk to me about what some of the keys for the PK was last weekend.
Well, it's just staying to our system, being aggressive, and mainly blocking shots. Like, that's a big part of the penalty kill. Just keep them to the outside, and when they do get those inside chances or shots off, you got to get in the lane, help your goalie out.
What's that been like for you? Because the coaches have talked about how this PK is kind of going to be a work in progress. A lot of guys shuffling in and out. There's no set, top PK, it seems like, for a long term. What's that been like for you as a player who's had to spend time on the PK a fair amount?
It's been good. It's good to have multiple guys who can penalty kill. Like, it's not. We don't need to rely on 4 guys, 3 guys. Like, it's good to have 6, 7, 8 guys who can penalty kill. So we're constantly changing and staying fresh out there.
You've been working on those 3rd and 4th lines primarily, kind of switching as a center on both of those. Obviously, your role expanded a little bit on Saturday after Shota Kaneko went out of Friday's game. Talk to me about what that was like, double shifting, maybe even triple shifting a little bit. What was that like? How do you keep your stamina up when you've got to jump over the boards a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just all about taking quick shifts and just being smart out there. Like, Shota going down, it was a hit to the whole team. Like, everyone loves him. He's a great guy, a great teammate. He's a good player out there. So it's hard to fill those shoes, but I know we can get it done this weekend too.
What was the coaching staff's message to you, Dylan Duxon, Jack Campy, and the 3 centers who were remaining, so to speak?
You're just telling us to keep the shift short, be smart out there, and mainly just keep playing our game. Don't change anything. Just maybe stay on the ice a little less.
You guys are taking on another tough opponent this weekend in Rochester. They're undefeated coming in. Obviously, you'd love to take the game Friday and then head there with a chance on Saturday to take both games. What do you think are some keys, and what are some things the coaching staff has stressed to you guys this week that you need to work on, or that are some things to keep an eye out for against Rochester?
Well, obviously, our D-zone's been a big key so far for us. Like, we really need to have been focusing on that this week in practice. Has been one of our strongest suits, and also just keep getting pucks in, getting in on the forecheck. Like, it's a key for us to make their defensemen turn around and go get the puck and force them to go 200 feet. It's a big part of our game.
Absolutely. Now, Cullen, let's get to some of the fun stuff here. We talked about you're a Dallas, Texas native. I imagine you're a Dallas Stars fan then, correct?
Yes, yep.
Who's your favorite player on them?
Right now, I'd have to say Tyler Sagan, but after the past few years, Dennis Guerrion, I was definitely climbing those ranks too.
It must have been pretty fun following them a couple of years ago on that little run they had.
Yeah, especially being on a team with mostly Texas boys, all rooting for the Stars during the playoffs. It was really fun watching those during practice.
I imagine so. So you've gotten to know your teammates a little bit here. Who would you say is your favorite teammate so far? If you had to pick a favorite, of course, right as Ryan Casper walks by.
I don't know. He's definitely up there, but it's hard to pick one. Like, so many, it's just a great group of guys. Like, it's something I've really not taken for granted, being so far from home. It's like having a great group of guys really helped me not feel as homesick usually, so I'm really appreciative of all these guys.
Talk to fans about what it's like for you guys on there's no really any off days in a way because you're always practicing, but on a non-game day, what are you guys doing after practice when the work part, so to speak, is finished?
Well, not all of us actually live in Mason City, so that group usually all goes and gets food, and we don't really all want to go home, so we all usually go get a lunch, probably go to the YMCA for a little bit, and then we usually head home. But that's usually what a day of practice, after practice, is like.
What would you say has been the most popular spot for you guys going out to eat on, let's just say, like on an off day?
On an off day, the Merrick's is definitely up there. Like, it's really good food for after practice. Both tastes good and it's really good for you. So it's been a good popular spot amongst the guys.
Not a bad choice. Well, Cullen, thank you for joining us, and best of luck this weekend against Rochester.
Thank you.
That was Cullen Hogan joining us, and this has been Toro Talk.